Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into my official college football week number 12 picks and predictions, where I predict the final score of every ranked matchup. And guys, let's get right into it. Thursday night game, 7:30 game, American matchup. It's Tulane coming off their loss, facing the high-powered offense that is SMU, and SMU has played so well recently. Tulane only the 3-point favorites. But you know what, guys? I trust Tulane football to get back on track at home. We could potentially be dealing with thunderstorms. I'll be watching the weather. We've got a very high over-under. I think it's in the mid-60s right now. So we'll track the weather. There might be value on the under if we do get legitimate thunderstorms for this Tulane SMU game. We'll see what happens. SMU, they've been very good on offense, not great on defense. Tulane, still a really good year. I still trust them. I knew they were going to lose to UCF. I called that. And I've got them coming back, getting a win at home, and covering the 3 points. Next, moving on to the Saturday matchups. And guys, wouldn't you know it, we've got an 11 a.m. game. It's Navy traveling to UCF. UCF coming off that great win over Tulane. And guys, of course, I have to take the under because it's an 11 a.m. morning game. The over-under is 53. I'm taking the under. And guys, there's been kind of an interesting trend with Navy where they're covering these spreads. I think that changes. I've got UCF covering the 16-point spread at home and the under hitting in this one. UCF is a freight train right now. They're going to be so motivated. They know if they win out, they're probably going to a New Year's Six Bowl. They're going to be the Group of 5 representative. Plumlee's back, the quarterback. And they've got an extremely high-powered offense. So the morning, it's 11 a.m. It's going to slow them down a little bit. They're going to be tired. You know, the kids, they wake up, they try and sleep in. Early morning. Early. Navy's a team, they love running the ball. We love the under in this game because it is 11 a.m. Moving to the noon slate, we've got Illinois traveling to Michigan. This game was a lot more interesting 2 weeks ago. Illinois losing those games. They're not going to be ranked. Michigan listed as 17-point favorites. And guys, if there was one thing that I love in this game, I love the under. I believe the under 44 or 45. I just think Michigan is really just trying to get through this game without any injuries. I highly doubt they're going to be challenged a ton, maybe in the first half. Illinois still does have a solid defense. They're coached really well, but I know Michigan's defense is going to focus on stopping Chase Brown, and that's going to really hurt Illinois' offense overall. But if there was a bet in this game, I would say take Illinois plus the 17.5 and take the under, because I think Michigan is just going to want to get through this game. They're going to want to ball control it, avoid all injuries, and they're going to be so focused on that Ohio State game. They might have some attention shifted towards that this week because Illinois, they've lost 2 straight. They're floundering a little bit. We really thought this could have been a big matchup for, Illinois possibly already capturing the, West Division, but at this point it looks like it's a complete mess in the West. Give me Michigan to finish the job there. Next, we have TCU at Baylor. TCU, a 3-point favorite. Guys, what can I say? I'm going down with the ship. If Baylor football loses, I'll go down with it. I don't care. I'm taking Baylor in this game. TCU, it's a great performance against Texas. How much of it was Quinn Ewers struggling? How much of it was their defense influencing Ewers? I don't know, guys. What I've seen from TCU's defense this year has not been good. So I think it's a little bit more of Ewers just struggling. And I like Baylor at home. It was a bad performance against Kansas State, I know. But guys, my narrative for the Big 12 has always been there's so much parity in this conference, and that narrative could be blown to smithereens if TCU goes undefeated. I don't think it'll happen. I trust Baylor football. I'm going down with the ship, but you know what I trust in this game? I love the over. It's going to be beautiful in Texas. 55-degree weather, completely sunny. This is the big noon game. I love the over in this matchup. Next, we have Austin Peay traveling to Tuscaloosa to take on Alabama. Of course, there is no spread for this game, considering it is an FCS team. The spread for this game will come out on Saturday morning. I'm guessing it'll be Alabama minus maybe 51.5 or something like that. And I actually do have Austin Peay leading this game 2-0, getting a safety early on, and then Alabama makes some halftime adjustments and wins 53-2 in that one. Next, we have Louisiana traveling to Florida State. And guys, this line is crazy. So any, analytical model will tell you there is really good value on Louisiana plus the 23.5. The reason for that is because Vegas is giving us an FSU tax. They're taxing us. It's the same thing they do with Ohio State because FSU has been so good. And I got to say, I agree with it. FSU right now is playing like a top 15 team. If there's one bet I like in this game, I like the over 52.5. Very good weather in Florida. It's going to be about 65. So, guys, I like the over. And Louisiana is a team that can score. They're not terrible, but FSU is a runaway train right now. They're playing so well. It's so great to see teams improve from week to week, and FSU is probably going to finish, I believe, 9-3, and they're going to get into a really good bowl game. And could you imagine if Jordan Travis comes back next year, or maybe a little transfer portal to Ohio State or something like that? I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know. I'm throwing it out there. Next, we have Kansas State traveling to West Virginia. This is a random 2 o'clock game. I think this is ESPN2. Kansas State right now a touchdown favorite. And guys, what do I preach about the Big 12 Conference? It's parity on top of parity. Give me West Virginia. They've played better recently over Kansas State. I know Kansas State just crushed Baylor. It was a great win. It doesn't make sense. I get it. I'm telling you guys, there's so much parity in this conference. I'll take West Virginia. I love the value. Plus the 7 at home. And actually, I think the over-under is in the mid-50s. Normally, every Kansas State over-under is in the mid-50s, so I'll take the over in that one. Next, we have Boston College traveling to Notre Dame, playing one of their 2:30 NBC games at home. The Fighting Irish have been so good late in the year. They're sitting at 21-point favorites. Of course, Boston College, the crazy upset win against NC State last week. Guys, I'm getting a really low score in this one. I'm feeling the vibes. I'm feeling about 40 degrees in this game, overcast, cloudy. I like Notre Dame. I think it was a little bit of an aberration with Drew Pine, the 5 touchdowns in the first half. They get shut out in the second half. Notre Dame's got a really good defense. The offense is not explosive. Boston College, not very good offensively or defensively. I know the over-under is just 46, but it's a feel. I like the under in it, 23-7. Next, we have Georgia. This is the 3:30 window. I believe this is the CBS game, and I really can't blame CBS for picking this game if they picked it in the preseason because this was supposed to be a really good matchup. It's such a shame. You've got Kentucky coming off their loss to Vanderbilt, taking on Georgia, who is just trouncing everyone. And I've got Georgia could very easily win this game 41-14. By the way, guys, I do not have a strong feeling on betting Kentucky plus the 22.5. What a weird spread that is, 22.5. But I mean, Georgia's just indestructible against a team like Kentucky. Will Levis has been horrible. Chris Rodriguez, the running back, is actually running really well. This is a game where Kentucky has a scrappy defense, kind of a talented defense. You would think maybe at home with the crowd, if they had 3 losses, maybe they were ranked. This could get hairy, but right now it's just so hard to see that happening. Kentucky is kind of like the reverse of Mississippi State, where they're a little bit better on defense, but their offense and especially passing is just so bad. We saw what Georgia did to Mississippi State last week. They easily covered the spread. This week, it's probably going to be pretty close. If I had to give you a value, I would say there's slight value on Kentucky plus the 22.5, but I don't feel confident about it personally. Next, we have Ohio State traveling to Maryland, a little 3:30 ABC matchup. Ohio State right now, 27.5-point favorites. And guys, I feel rather comfortable that Ohio State will cover this spread. Maryland is a team, they've been so bad on offense. I don't think they'll get shut out this game, but it is crazy. Their offensive passing game, they've combined for like 200 yards over the past 2 weeks. Tua's brother, they just can't get it done. I don't know what's going on because they had a decent offense. I will say maybe they can get something going because Ohio State, in my opinion, does have a suspect secondary. But the Buckeyes, they are going to be one-dimensional. I do like the young true freshman running back, Dallin Hayden. He should be getting... Dallin Hayden. He should be getting the majority of the carries in this game with probably Mayan Williams out. We'll see if Travion Henderson comes back. It's a little bit, Ohio State is really not going to push it with the running backs right now, especially with Michigan looming. Could you maybe make the argument that Maryland will cover in this game because Ohio State is going to be so careful? You could. I don't think Ohio State minus 20 is necessarily the safest bet. But I do think Ohio State wins this game fairly easily. Next, we have Miami traveling to Clemson. Guys, I'm not sure I really understand this line at all. I guess I figured it would be like Clemson minus 14. Clemson is like 19-point favorites in this game. I know Tyler Van Dyke is dealing with an injury, but I have Clemson winning it by 10. Again, little surprised. I mean, I guess Vegas just thinks Miami is dead in the water. But they did just win, a game against, I think, Georgia Tech fairly easily. Either way, I'll take Clemson. I've never been a believer in their offense this season, but they are at home, and they did stabilize pretty nicely, beating Louisville, and they do have a solid defense. And also Miami, they've just been so bad. Even with the win last week, they're still just not a good team this year, 34-24. But I do think there's good value in Miami, plus like 20. Next, we have Penn State traveling to Rutgers. Penn State listed minus 19. I saw in some other books it was 19.5. I think that line's really going to get bet up this week. Penn State is a runaway train. Rutgers is terrible. They can't score. I've got Penn State winning this game. It could be 31-10. It could be 38-10, something like that. Penn State is focused. James Franklin has these guys playing really good. They've got a veteran quarterback. Their defense is playing amazing. Give me Penn State, and I think they cover again. Next, we have NC State traveling to Louisville. So Louisville, I will say they do have the quarterback question mark right now with Cunningham, who's out. I think, due to that situation, I know NC State just lost the game you cannot lose. They were 19-point favorites and they lost. But NC State does have a good defense. I do find value on NC State in this game plus the 5. I've still got Louisville winning it. But with the quarterback uncertainty, with NC State's good defense, it's a bounce-back chance for them on the road. They could win this game or at least cover the spread. So I've got them covering but losing. Now, here it is, Texas at Kansas. Of course, Kansas is actually pretty good this year. Texas listed as 9-point favorites. When it comes to this game, I really don't have a great vibe on what's going to happen, but I do love the over. That's what I can say about it. So I've got it at 45-44 with Texas winning. It just feels like Texas is not going to completely throw away their season. I mean, right now they're 6-4, but they're like a top 10 team in terms of the FPI, so they've had some really unfortunate losses. It feels like they're not going to ruin their season, but the value is on Kansas plus the 9, and I think the real value is the over. The over-under's in the mid-60s, but I'll still take the over. I think you're talking about 80 points in this game. Kansas's defense is terrible. Texas is due for an offensive explosion after the bad week they had last week. Give me the over. Next, we have Georgia Tech traveling to UNC. This is a 5:30 game. I'm guessing this is on the ACC network. Very odd start time. UNC listed minus 20. They currently, there's some rumblings right now in Chapel Hill. Do they have a chance to possibly make the playoff? Is Drake May a legit Heisman candidate? If CJ Stroud struggles against Michigan, this gets interesting. And guys, I think North Carolina with Josh Downs, he's emerging again this year. They are going to trounce Georgia Tech. And it is funny, the over-under in this game, I believe, is 62.5. It's so crazy that a game involving Georgia Tech has an over-under in the 60s because they have such a bad offense. But when you've got a team like North Carolina, they've got a really bad defense and a great offense. You can understand it. They've got this, minus 20. I don't think it's enough. North Carolina right now, they're on a roll. They've got more talent than Georgia Tech. We know, for recruiting, you want Drake May to put up as good of stats as possible. It would be so huge for their program if Drake May made some serious noise in the Heisman race. I've got them big in that game. Next, we have Tennessee traveling to South Carolina. And if there's one thing that Tennessee wants to do, we saw it last week. They want to win, and they want to win impressively because they're not going to go to the SEC championship. They know they're going to be a one-loss team that doesn't make their conference championship. I love the over in any Tennessee game right now. And I do think Tennessee, because they're going to look at these spreads and they're going to say, listen, we want to win these games, but we've got to win them by a lot. Right now, South Carolina is totally dead in the water. I've got Tennessee putting it on South Carolina and running up the score maybe at the end. Again, Ole Miss traveling to Arkansas. So, guys, I do think this is a possible parity correction game. Ole Miss, to me, is still due for another loss. Arkansas, it is a risky pick here, picking them to win this game outright with the quarterback situation with KJ Jefferson, but Arkansas was able to hang in there at home against LSU, and obviously we think LSU is better than Ole Miss, so give me Arkansas. You can see the math I'm doing. Arkansas in a 7:30 game, 3-point underdogs, they're going to win it outright. Ole Miss is due for another loss. They pick up their third loss on the year. How about this 7:30 game, 4:30 Pacific? The vibes are going to be amazing. USC, right now, Pac-12's really, great hope to make the playoffs, taking on UCLA. And guys, it's very simple. Trust Chip Kelly. Trust Chip Kelly, UCLA. Are you kidding me? DTR. Against this defense. Zach Charbonnet against this defense. USC, so lucky this year with the turnover margin. Such a bad defense. So inefficient on defense. All the analytical stats point to UCLA dropping a 50-burger and winning this game outright as 2.5-point underdogs. UCLA gets it done at home. And we love the over. We love the over in that one. How about this little non-conference game? Yes, UAB traveling to LSU. LSU, their offense was grounded in the cold conditions in Fayetteville. It's a 9 o'clock Eastern time start. Weird start time on ESPN2. LSU, right now, 2-touchdown favorites. And guys, I love the over 52 in this game. LSU is due for a bounce-back offensive performance. UAB can score pretty well. I don't know if they're going to cover the 14.5. I think they do, but I do love the over. I was thinking about maybe UAB pulls off an upset in this game, but I can't predict it with any reasonable confidence, so I am going with LSU, and I'll just say I love the over 52. Next, we have Colorado taking on Washington. So Washington should be entering the poll on Tuesday night after their massive road victory in Eugene over Oregon. And of course, we know Colorado, the worst Power 5 team. Washington currently listed 30-point favorites. And guys, we really do like Washington to cover this spread. Colorado, even when they're 30-point underdogs, they seem to really struggle to cover any sort of spread at this point. I think the over-under in this game is like 63 or 64. I probably would stay away from that. If anything, I'd take the over, but I do like Washington. It's tough because it's a massive spread, but teams have been, we saw Oregon cover against Colorado. They were 34-point favorites. We saw USC do it as 36-point or 34-point favorites as well. I think Oregon was like 31-point favorites, if I remember that correctly. But either way, guys, I like Washington. Their passing attack is elite. Next, we have, this is actually the final game, excuse me. This is the 10:30 game. It's just so, why is this game on at 10:30, man? Why? Why can we not have, it's very clear the two best games of the day are both Pac-12 matchups. Let's put one of the Pac-12 matchups on at 3:30 Eastern, which is 12:30 Pacific, and the other SEC matchup, or excuse me, the other Pac-12 matchup on at 7:30, which is 4:30 Pacific. Why is this game on at 10:30? It's Oregon and Utah. Like, the Pac-12 is so good this year, but why is this game on at 10:30, man? I just, like, listen, I love staying up and stuff, but when I do my reactions, it's just so hard. This is like the game of the day along with USC and UCLA. It's a Pac-12 kind of day next week, guys. The Pac-12 has been so good this year. I've got so much respect for that conference. Oregon listed as 3-point favorites. And guys, I really do have to show respect for Oregon here. I think they come back, they get it done. Watch for this line to potentially drop to -2.5, and then I'd probably bet Oregon. Utah, I love Utah. Guys, Utah is so much better than people think they are. I know they have 2 losses. They are a top 10 team in college football. But this Oregon team at home, we know Bo Nix has been so good, and they've been able to rid themselves. See, guys, Oregon lost. Now they're free. Now we get Oregon football back. It's so great to finally get them back. They spent the entire 2022 season under a disgusting spell, but now it's kind of like affected them so much to where, I don't know, but no, I like that we get Oregon football back at this point. After they lost, they had to lose, and now they rid themselves, and now they're free, and they can go beat Utah. We were waiting for it. I wanted it to happen earlier. Finally, we get it to happen, and I do like Oregon winning this game by 3 points over Utah. But guys, Utah is a great team. I just think Utah's on the road, maybe not enough explosiveness. Very similar game to the game Oregon just played versus Washington. It's going to be back and forth. It's going to be, we'll see what happens. I don't have a great vibe on it, so I wouldn't bet it, but I will take the home team by 3, maybe on a walk-off field goal. Guys, that's going to do it for my Week 12 college football picks and predictions. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.